that bet, ain't he?
Yeah, nothing's got that gold to eat. What's it called?
And the lunch is...
Actually, believe it or not, this car was delivered in East Germany.
Yeah, mine was Italy, northern Italy.
I know, but Italy, at least, you know...
It was a free country.
In 1970, East Germany wasn't, you know...
Well, yeah.
You better probably, you were probably part of the establishment or you didn't drive this.
Do you know the story of the original owner?
No, but I got a lot of the history, but I don't have any of the history in Europe. Once it came out of there, it went to Canada, and I got it all from Canada.
Mine was came from Paris, France. The guy lived in Belgium.
Yeah.
Do you have the birth certificate?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are fun to get some.
Yeah, but the sun's going down.
Paul Devers, 1957 Mercedes 300 SL. Great to see you with Bob Anzalone along for the ride. Congratulations, Toledo, Ohio, home to this car.
It's great to be here. Hey, beautiful cars. We're thrilled to get this award.
I think this is the first time I've seen you in anything but a Chrysler product.
That's correct. I love those Hemis, but this is kind of like a Hemi. You know.
Well, it's the 300 SL is one of the most exotic race cars, sports cars ever made. They were patterned after the 300 SLR race car, and fuel-injected 6-cylinder motor over on its side, and it would go like mad.
That's correct. Dry sump oil system, tube chassis frame, built like an aircraft.
Well, it's beautifully done in the right color, German silver, and we're thrilled to have you back at MeadowBrook, regardless if it's not a Chrysler.
Thanks, Ed. Everybody enjoy the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Paul Devers, ladies and gentlemen, from Toledo, Ohio, with Bob Anzalone, the Restore for the ride. A 300 SL Roadster, one of the greatest sports car designs of all time. Our second line award winner in this Class 62 Jaguar Mark II Saloon, Raymond Renshaw. How would you like to have your own Aaron's Fox fire truck? John has his, and the Pirate Chief's hat going with it. Everything works. Very unique design with that huge vacuum ball on the front and the top of the pumper. 1926, Aaron's Fox. If there are any fires on the field today, John is fully equipped. He's got all the hoses. We're ready to go from Lapeer, Michigan. Thank you very much, John.
Bring the crowd now.
Cannons there. John McMullen from Lapeer, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. I wondered if this car still existed. It was built on a 1932 Ford chassis. You can see at the top of the grill, it looks a little bit like a 32 Ford. It was built by Fred Bergholt in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it's been owned by the Loney family for 32 years, and the brothers restored the car. Here's the first public viewing of the 1932 Bergholt Streamliner. It was built in a family garage in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by a man that owned a cosmetics company. He toured the country with his cosmetic trailer, and his name was Fred Bergholt. And here's the car, a one-of-a-kind.
It's one of the most exotic Ferraris ever built, a 250 long wheelbase California Spider, owned by the Off brothers in Richland, Michigan. Bill Johnston at the wheel of this fabulous California Spider Ferrari with covered headlights. Margie?
And the year is 1954, and what happened in 1954? It was the beginning of the compact cars, and Ford produced a group of compact cars called the Comet. And they were really designed to be purchased by women, so the wardrobe that stood beside these cars was mainly in pastel, and some of the cars were also done in pastel. The Comet really was part of the Etzel B format with Ford, but after that line went away, it was monikered Mercury. But this dress stood beside one of those compact cars in 1954. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Bill. Wonderful fashions and a truly great Ferrari. So we have a very exotic Bugatti, Type 57, double overhead camshaft straight 8 motor. This is a sport model with a lowered V radiator. And this is truly an exceptional world-class automobile.
And our ensemble is from 1938. This was the beginning of the relationship between General Motors and Miss America. Remember Miss America? I used to watch it every year and prepare my acceptance speech, but you know, you couldn't do that watching TV. But Miss America toured the entire United States doing marketing for General Motors. She always appeared in very glamorous gowns. Miss America 1938 was Marilyn Mensky, who wore this dress, and she was glamorous. She toured the country for the National Safety Council talking about automotive safety.
Well, she has a wonderful automobile to transport her. This Bugatti is one of 32 made supercharged sport chassis, Type 57 Atalanta Coupe, one of only 32 built from the incredible mind of Ettore Bugatti. And this car was restored by the Hera Automobile Collection, and it won first place at Pebble Beach Best in Show in 1979 from Louisville, Kentucky. Former Pebble Beach Best in Show car from 1979. And a very special story. This is a 1953 Nash Healey Roadster. There were 506 Nash Healeys made. Several were roadsters, most were coupes. And this car, anybody remember the Adventures of Superman television series with George Reeves?
Of course, what a classic.
This car was in several episodes of The Adventures of Superman with George Reeves, a celebrity car.
I remember George. In the 1950s, designed by couturier, American couturier Hattie Carnegie. The New York Auto Dealers Association in that year hired Hattie Carnegie to design a group of dresses for the New York Auto Show to go with a collection of various brand cars. And this is very much like the 50s with the floating train on the back, very high style for its era.
Nash Healey from the Adventures of Superman television series was found in deplorable condition a few years ago and totally and completely restored. Now, here's some trivia. It was originally owned by Dick Powell. Dick Powell owned this car originally.
The actor, right?
The actor Dick Powell, yes. He was quite a car enthusiast. He was the original owner. He lent it to the studios. And
thank you. So this has movie star quality.
Yep, a celebrity car.
And an American couturier designer dress. You can't beat that. Style upon style.
Well, we all remember those great films that this car was featured in, but most importantly, originally purchased by Dick Powell and from the TV series The Adventures of Superman. And our fourth and final Concours car in our sports car segment, the Peter Mullen collection, Marjorie, and it is an Avion Voisin.
Oh my, the French car.
The French car, the Avion Voisin, built by the Voisin brothers who designed airplanes, and they included some of their airplane designs in their automobiles, and you talk about exotic and wild and unusual. We rarely have a Voisin here at the MeadowBrook Concours, but Peter Mullen sent us this exotic Avion Voisin.
This is an amazingly exquisite car, so to go with it, we needed to try to create something really amazing wardrobe-wise. This is one of the glamour gowns from the 1940s that was worn during the 40s after World War II, when auto shows came back into existence. During World War II, the automotive plants were closed down to make tanks and munitions, but when they started up again and all of the GIs had returned to America, everyone wanted a second car, glamour, and great looks. And this was part of the Ford series of gowns that you would see during that era after World War II.
Well, the ride in the car with great looks.
Oh, this car is amazing.
An Avion Voisin, sliding sunroof, full wheel disc, fender braces exposed from the radiator, And Boysan always used the eagle with the raised wings on the hood ornament. They made some incredible automobiles, and no two were alike. And we have this one courtesy of Peter Mullen from Los Angeles, California. Wonderful combination of fashions and outstanding automobiles in our first Mode du Concours segment. Thank you very much, Marjorie.
Oh, thank you, Ed. So we'll be back.
We'll be back with some formal evening cars later on. Marjorie Krevsky, ladies and gentlemen, author of The Sirens of Chrome. Is the Chrome Lady here? The Chrome Lady will be here later. Thank you. Automotive enthusiast, Mr. Bill Parfit.
Thank you, Ed, and welcome to everybody to the 32nd running of the MeadowBrook Car Show. We've got an unbelievable assemblage of cars here today for everybody to enjoy and view. But I want to make special thanks to all those who brought their cars here. Judges are knowledgeable in the car, knowledgeable in design, knowledgeable also in the aspects of how
you're working. Ed, you're still working, right? You have your car to look forward to. From 1903. Automobiles have been designed by these three gentlemen: Chuck Jordan, Wayne Cherry, and Ed Welborn.
And had more fun. Problems, and we still have problems, but that's another subject. It really is good to be here. I tell you what, we've got to put it down. Now look at the result.
Thank you, Sally Jordan. Sally, please stand up for just a moment. Sally Jordan, who is here with Chuck all the way from California. Thank you.
Back in '79. I still am. Come on up, Pete. Pete Green, ladies and gentlemen, has been with us every year since 1970. Chairman of Green.
It's wonderful to look back at these automobiles from the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s and see what those designs did, what they say to us today. They're fascinating. With concept cars, they had a show of their own, and it was called the Motorama Show. Started in 1952, went through that, survived. We have 4 of them here today from the Joe Bortz collection in Chicago, Illinois, and we're going to bring each of the 4 up during our program. Here's the first one.
Just stand there.
Actually got title to it. It was stored at, it was shown at the Detroit Historic Society for a few decades, a couple of decades, and then I had the opportunity to buy it in the 80s, and I bought it. And it's the designer of the car wanted to use the V8 engine, but the marketing people said no because it would tip the hand that a V8 was coming in 55, and they thought that would be bad for the sales for 54. So they took the engine.
Joe, we're so thankful that some of these concept cars were saved and not destroyed. And let's see the rest of your motor present to you, Joe.
It's like eating dessert. A Motorama cars, concept cars from 1952 to 1956. And we saw them appearing in spots, so we closed the doors, locked them, and still did concept cars.
Thank you, Chuck. Great to have your insight on that automobile. Joe Bortz will be back in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, with another one of his Motorama cars.
Murphy body of Pasadena.
Bill Galling, ladies and gentlemen. 34 Chrysler Airflow took the automotive world by storm with this design. It was completely different than anything else on the road. American popular through 1955. Wonderful. Congratulations. The judges loved it. One of 2 made, ladies and gentlemen. The body was built by Cantrell Body Works. 1941 Hudson Super 6 Woody Wagon. Best class, American popular through 1955. They're in very, very poor condition, and a total restoration is required. Presenting our trophy, Bob Wilson. Best in class.
Once again, the whole interior is wooden trim, including the top inside of the car. The headliner's all wood. 3-row seating, and notice in the back we have very unusual. 36 Ford, ladies and gentlemen, a very collectible flathead V8 powered 1936 Ford. Thank you, Rick. American popular through 1955. A 1953 Cadillac Series 62 convertible, Mike Scott. Gary, can you imagine walking into a Ford showroom in 55 and seeing all those fabulous pastel colors that Ford had, and this one would really stand out?
Back in 55, I did walk into a lot of the showrooms. With all the colors, it was hard to decide which one you liked best.
And how did you select this one? How did you decide on this one? Or was it
like this one?
The girls like this one?
Yes, that's it, the girls.
I noticed she's letting you drive it today.
A little bit.
Not far. Thank you very much. 55 Ford Sunliner, and the name of that color is?
Tropical Rose.
Tropical Rose. Wimbledon white? Snowshoe white. What a color combination. Congratulations. Thank you. Even pink wheels. Gary Blakesley, ladies and gentlemen, a 55 Ford Sunliner with dual exhaust. And our best in class, American popular from 1955. And here is a rare one. This was a 1953 Olds Fiesta. What a special year 53 was at General Motors, owned by Neil Porter. Neil, congratulations from your wonderful collection. And here's Bob Wilson with a Best in Class trophy.
Congratulations to you, Neil. This is, I told you before, this is a representation of my misspent youth. I loved it. I had this car when I was a kid, and it's man, I wish I had it back.
High school. Back in high school, Neil. 53, thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. Bob Wilson presenting the trophy. Neil, hold on just 1 second. 53 was a special year. Chevrolet introduced the Corvette. Cadillac had the Eldorado. Buick did the Skylark. They were all the Motorama cars. And Oldsmobile produced the Fiesta, and that was the rarest one of all outside of the Corvette.
I have them all. This was the last one to come up with the set, but I added the 53 Corvette too as the fourth one.
Well, there can't be many of those 53 GM Motorama sets in any collection around the country. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Notice the low windshield, ladies and gentlemen. It has built-in wind wings at the side of the back of the windshield. The Fiesta, built 1 year only. 452 were made. American popular from 1956. From 1956 is our next class. We have 3 Lion Award winners. The class was judged by Tony Swan, Jeff Burke, and Lynn Osborne. In authentic correct colors, Lynn Osborne from Colorado. How was the drive, Lynn?
A piece of cake. He had he had Cadillacs, I think, but the same color.
Built when Elvis was still alive. Well, we are thrilled to have you here from Colorado, and what a beautiful color, and you and your wife are color keyed to the automobile. 3 colors on the interior from Packard, ladies and gentlemen, built in Detroit, Michigan. Just ask the man that owns one, a 1956 400 2-door hardtop. And here's a Studebaker Golden Hawk owned by Tom Elwood from Ohio. 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk. 5 and 6?
Yes, it was. It was designed as one of the first factory hot rods with the Packard engine and the sleek, light body. So it ran well with those cars.
Now the Golden Hawk had special meaning in a Studebaker this year.
It was the top of the line, and it was a 1-year car. They only made it was when Packard and Studebaker merged. They created the car with the Studebaker Lowy design body and the big Packard engine and a 352 cubic inch Packard engine.
And I believe this was the last year for this design, and then it really changed.
Yeah, it was. Next year they went back to a Studebaker engine, and it was a very different car.
all the way from Ohio. Tom, thank you very much. A Studebaker Golden Hawk. Look how low that is, ladies and gentlemen. Designed by the legendary Raymond Loewy. A Lion Award winner, 56 Golden Hawk. And our third award winner from American Popular from 1956, our Lion Award winner from Newfoundland, Canada, all the way from Newfoundland. A 1958 Buick Limited, owned by Vernon Smith. Look at the size of this 58 automobile. Congratulations, Vernon. How's everything in Newfoundland?
Fantastic. Even good weather there this summer, buddy.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here. We have cars from several foreign nations, and of course Canada's a wonderful neighbor. We always get great cars. And the 58 Limited, that was about as big as it got at Buick. Thank you, Vernon. Vernon Smith from Newfoundland, Ontario, ladies and gentlemen. Our next award winner in American Popular from 1956. And this is Best in Class, ladies and gentlemen, and what a car the judges have selected for this Best in Class award. A 1960 Chrysler Crown Imperial limousine owned by Richard Burgess from Georgia, all the way from Georgia. Now that'd be a great company car, Keith Crane.
They say they don't make cars like this anymore. And I'm afraid there's a really good reason. But this is the ultimate of something. And I congratulate you for bringing it here and sharing it with us. Something that they don't do.
Crown stand.
Was the Ghia body available at in the same year?
Yes, you could get the Ghia limousine.
There's a lot of room on this long wheelbase. I can't imagine one being longer, but the Ghias were probably bigger.
Yeah, they were longer.
And the engine is?
It's a 413, Chrysler 413.
It's in wonderful condition, and we're thrilled to have you here. The judges loved the car, whether it was made in Italy or not. We're thrilled to have you here, and Chrysler's doing some great designs today to go along with some of the designs from the 50s and the 60s.
Well, thank you.
All the way from Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Burgess, an Imperial limousine. Yes. Thank you, Greg. Ladies and gentlemen, motorcycles, our next class, and what a display of motorcycles. We've never had a display like this before at the MeadowBrook Concours, and we have 3 Lion Awards. Okay, Adam Barry from Ontario, Canada for his 1912 Flying Merkel board track racer. Well, that's got to be a rare one, Adam.
Yes, it is. The reason why it's not running right now is because it's direct drive, no clutch, no brakes or transmission, but we will be running it a bit later over by the motorcycle display.
What?
Yeah, you'll see it.
Once it starts, you're off to the races, and that's what it was built for. Flat track racing on that Flying Merkel. What a beautiful bike with authentic, correct white tires. Our next Lion Award winner in motorcycle class, the 1963 Triumph TT dirt bike. It's a Triumph, ladies and gentlemen, 1963, owned by H.C. Morris from Kentucky. And congratulations, sir. It sounds great, it looks great, and it must be a wonderful bike.
It is. Good bike. Only thing is it's 12.5 to 1 compression.
How many times do you have to jump on it to kickstart?
1, and then I cry and get somebody else to kick it.
Alcohol helps. You mean you or the bike?
Me. The bike ain't going to start any easier. It just...
You know, I was at a seminar a couple months ago, and Don Garlitz was there, and somebody said, "Why didn't you use alcohol in your race cars?" And he said, "Well, in our shop, Gasoline's for cleaning parts, alcohol's for drinking, and we run on nitromethane.
What, I tell people all the time there's got to be something wrong with these Triumphs, because the older I get, the harder they are to start. And so it's got to be the bikes.
Do they go any faster?
I don't know. My religion stops me. I'm a devout coward. I have no desire to get hurt anymore.
Well, you certainly are forthcoming and truthful with us on a lot of the details on this bike. How did you select the Triumph?
Went with Bill Horde, one of the best builders around. A friend of mine, when I was growing up, had one that was fast to sing around. I always wanted one. He had it, and we started a relationship building TTs, so we got the whole set.
How fast will it go?
This one will probably run out maybe 118, 120.
And how fast have you driven it, HC?
Well, we just got it finished up, and Bill built the motor, so of course I just nursed it around.
And what did it cost new?
$1,100.
What a bargain. Congratulations. A Lion Award, ladies and gentlemen, here at MeadowBrook, all the way from Kentucky, H.C. Morris and his 63 Triumph TT dirt bike, and it looks absolutely brand new out of the wrapper. Thank you, sir. One kick. 12.5 to 1 compression ratio. Good gracious. What a great bike.
68 Velocette Venom Thruxton V-Line. This was a clubman type road racer prior to cafe racers, and what typically used to happen in England is the fellows used to go to their club meetings, have their race, and ride the bike home after the race. So it had to have lights and all that stuff on it to make it legal.
Street legal.
Street legal, right. This bike is was originally 41 horsepower, now it's 51. It'll go 126 miles an hour. It's a 500 single, so that's pretty fast. We've raced one very similar to this at the Isle of Man in 2004, so it's quite a machine.
How many were made?
There was only 1,100 made originally, and there's probably only 300 left in the world right now.
It's in beautiful shape. How fast have you driven it?
Over 100.
And it's street legal?
Yep, yep.
And the hardest part of the restoration, Keith?
Well, the hardest part is getting parts, as usual. We had to make flywheels, make timing gears. We had to make linkages and things like that. So the engine was a scratch-built engine, and it took 2 years to find hubs. It was 7.5 years total to make.
That sounds tougher than some automobiles to restore.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much. What a great bike. What a great bike. Velocette Venom Thruxton V-Line from 1968, and in beautiful condition, a Lion Award winner. We'll have the best in class from this class up a little bit later. Is that right, Randy? Thank you, sir. Thank you. And this is the best in class in the motorcycle class. Vincent Gunga Din.
This is a 1947. This is the famous works development bike Gunga Din.
And the meaning of that, sir, if you could tell us, please. It must be a great story.
Well, there's a famous Rudyard Kipling poem called Gunga Din, and it's about a water carrier in India. And the last line in it was, "You're a better man than I, Gunga Din." So the man that was trying to get this to his top speed of 125 miles an hour in 1948 could only get it to 118. So in this story, in the article, they called it Gunga Din, because you're a better man than I, Gunga Din.
And this is the only one like it made.
Well, this is the Works Development bike from 1947. It held all the records in England up to 1951. It was the bike that was the prototype of the Black Shadow and the prototype of the Black Lightning. It is a one-of-a-kind motorcycle.
Well, the Black Shadow and the Black Lightning are world-class bikes that a lot of us are aware of. So this must be extremely special. How fast would it go?
This is the grandfather of them all, and in its day it held the Irish speed record of 143 miles an hour. Back when cars and bikes were still trying to get to 100 miles an hour, this was already up there.
How did you find the bike and acquire it?
This bike is an amazing story because it fell into disuse and it was shipped over to America in 1965, bought by an American who broke it down and parted it out and sold all the parts. And
there is a story here, I can tell.
So there was two gentlemen over here that thought that was criminal what he was doing and bought up all the parts. They just kept buying them over a 40-year quest, and last year all the parts came together and it was completed in time to go to Pebble Beach.
That is amazing. That deserves a hand. 40 years to put all the parts back together and save this wonderful prototype development bike, and we're thrilled to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
From Toronto, Canada. Best in class. Your wife is going to take the trophy. Thank you, sir. What an effort to put this bike together. What these cars and vehicles go through sometimes are truly a story unto themselves. The Vincent Gunga Din preceded the Black Shadow. Thank you, sir. All the way from Toronto. Roaring 20s, our next class, back to automobiles. Roaring 20s. The class was judged by an exotic Invicta Carlton body owned by Ben Delphia, right here from Michigan, and Bob Fuller to present the trophy. From Houston, Texas, Bob, you like this one?
We love this car. And it, you know, it's the only one in the United States. It's one of 9 in the world. An incredible deal. Thank you for bringing such a special car here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Ben, congratulations.
Really surprised. It's a big surprise. So thanks, everybody.
Well, Invicta, as Bob pointed out, is rarely seen, and to have a Carlton tour is special. Virtually the top of the line at Invicta. Most of them were 2 passengers and little low slung models, but we've got a full-size touring car here.
These preceded the low slung ones, they call. And this, when it was built in 1929, was $130,000 in 1929.
$130,000 in 1929, and of course it's right-hand drive.
Yeah.
How do you like right-hand drive?
It's good if you want to watch what's going on the side of the road over here.
Thank you, Ben. Great answer. I'm not a fan of right-hand drive cars either. A beautiful Invicta, ladies and gentlemen, with a Carlton touring body. Only one in the United States. Thank you. Ben Delphia from Michigan, right here, home state, Michigan. Judge Joe Cassini to your Duesenberg, please. Joe Cassini to your Duesenberg immediately, please. And our second Lion Award winner in the Roaring 20s class. Next car. 1929 Packard Phaeton, owned by Nick Crea from Ohio. Nick Crea from Ohio, and this beautiful Packard 1929 Packard 645 dual cowl Phaeton. Nick Crea. And look at this beautiful dual cowl Phaeton. Thank you, Nick. A beautiful dual cowl Phaeton, ladies and gentlemen. Model 645, the long wheelbase from 1929 with chrome wire wheels, dual side mounts, and rear luggage rack.
Follow the golf cart.
Best in class, ladies and gentlemen, Roaring 20s, 1929 Cadillac, a sport Phaeton. Skip Teets from New York, all the way from New York. Another dual cowl Phaeton with a separate windshield for the backseat passengers, and Bob Fuller from Houston, Texas, to present the trophy. Bob, you like this one too, real well.
This car we found literally to be flawless, and it's such a beautiful thing. And we're very proud to have you bring this car here. You've honored us. Thank you very much. We love this car.
Thank you, Bob. Skip, this is a rare one. We see a lot of Cadillacs, but rarely a 29 dual cowl with the second windshield.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm very surprised.
Well, the judges loved it. Did you do the restoration?
I paid for it.
And that was probably the hardest part of the restoration.
My talent is limited to waxing.
Well, you've done a beautiful job. Judges selected you as best in class, and we truly appreciate seeing a rare, true dual cowl Phaeton. The windshield folds down, the rear windshield folds down, and the whole car comes out at waist level with a running board spotlight, a correct, authentic accessory for a 29 Cadillac. Our best in class, ladies and gentlemen, for Roaring 20s, Skip Teets from New York, and a very rare Cadillac dual cowl Phaeton. Thank you. And it's been waxed from one end to the other. Horseless carriage is next. Horseless carriage, ladies and gentlemen. In the early days of the motoring industry in America, one of the greatest cars. And here's a 1911 Pierce Arrow Model 48 7-passenger touring car owned by Mr. and Mrs. Robert Renders, Michigan residents, and look at all the brass on this car. Well, Bob, congratulations again. We've done this 2 or 3 times before, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yes, it's just a joy for us to come back, and we appreciate it.
And you drive this car extensively, as I recall.
Yes, we just come back from Rochester, Minnesota on the Pierce Arrow meet. We drove out there, and we're going to take it on the Glidden Tour this year.
And how many miles is the Glidden Tour?
100 miles a day, roughly.
Who does all the brass?
Oh, I do, of course.
Well, you've done a beautiful job.
Thank you, thank you.
Great to have you here, and I know you love this car. It has all the amenities. There's an internal headliner, folding seats in the back for a couple of extra passengers. It's always in beautiful shape, and you drive it all over the United States. It must be a thrill.
Yes, and the nice thing about this car is we toured with cars up to the 1938, and we did the same tour they did. So,
and they could hardly keep up with you.
Well, when it comes to going over the mountains, several times I've seen the newer cars go around the mountain, I go over.
What did this car cost new?
$5,000.
In 1911. Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Robert Renders, ladies and gentlemen, their 1911 Pierce Arrow. They've driven it thousands of miles, and it runs like a charm. Built in Buffalo, New York. We have a 1904 white that is 1909 Locomobile. What a great car. An American brass era. So called the brass era because all of the trim was brass. That was before silver and nickel and chrome was used. And all the bright work was truly brass. It takes a lot of work to keep it shiny. Our Locomobile is running. Susan Sage presenting the best in class to Randall and Michael Longfield from Ontario, Canada. Isn't this a marvelous car, Susan?
Fabulous. It's wonderful, and thank you so much for bringing it. It's in its era. It's just superb. The design is wonderful, and it was. Thank you so much for bringing it.
Thank you, Susan.
Loco means crazy in some languages. Is there any connection here?
We'll explore that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Randall and Michael, you're Michael. We're thrilled to have you here with a prize winner. You won Best in Class, so the judges loved your car.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. We had a little bit of trouble with the water this morning getting in the clutch, so that's why we're a little slow getting across the stage. So.
How many cylinders?
4-cylinder T-head, 5x6, 407.
5-inch bore and a 6-inch stroke. How many horsepower?
LM rating was 40, puts out about 60.
Well, I'm sure it drives beautifully, and the clutch is a little troublesome at the moment, but once it goes, these are great cars. The Locomobile won one of the Vanderbilt Cup races.
Yes, actually, this particular model won the Fairmount Park races 2 weeks prior, and George Robertson drove a Locomobile I to victory in a stock car race.
And you know, the trophy from that race just turned up here in Detroit last year. It was missing for 100 years.
We actually bought it.
I knew that. What a great story. George Robertson won the 1908 Fairmount Park Trophy, and it was one of the biggest trophies ever presented. 3.5 feet tall. He was driving a 1908 Locomobile, and the trophy was sponsored by a man named George Morris, and it turned up in an attic at a lady's home, a granddaughter of George Morris, right here in Birmingham, Michigan, and it sold at Dumichel's last year for $125,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Marjorie Krevsky is here, who has all of these wonderful auto show fashions, and her recent book of about a year ago, The Sirens of Chrome.
That's
Marjorie,
right.
section number 2.
Right, we have some pretty great fashions to go with these formal cars. Look at this.
It's a Duesenberg, and it is a brand new, freshly restored Duesenberg owned by John Grondike in Enid, Oklahoma. It is a LeBaron, dual cowl Phaeton Duesenberg. LeBaron was a custom body maker right here in Detroit, Michigan. Duesenberg, a well-known German car built in Indianapolis, Indiana. Straight 8 motor, double overhead camshaft, 420 cubic inches, and there were only 475 made in 10 years. At Roxas Restorations, and it's a LeBaron dual cowl Phaeton, a very, very fancy car with a fashion to match, and the saying, it's a doozy. You're a doozy. That means the best. Came from.
We're going to have Renee come up here so that at the end of this presentation, you can see the entire collection of these fabulous auto show gowns.
Marjorie, what did a Bob Mackie gown cost?
Well, back in 1980s, they went anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and now they are literally priceless, like these amazing cars. You cannot buy them. In fact, these gowns will be on display in the future at some of the automotive museums around the United States, just like these fabulous cars are.
Well, back in 1929, when you could buy a Model A Ford for $300 or $400, that Duesenberg cost $17,500.
Isn't that an amazing
All
fact?
Duesenbergs were custom bodied. They only made 475 over 10 years. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is our poster car. If you notice on the poster in the front of the program, this very, very special car from the collection of Ralph Morano in New Jersey. And what a great story to this car. It is not a LaSalle. It is a Lincoln Model K V12 convertible sedan with a custom LeBaron body, the same maker as the Duesenberg that just left.
That is amazing. And now we have our second fabulous auto show gown from the mid-1980s. Again, part of this collection in the Pontiac red. And so Pontiac really will live on in the cars, but also in the fabulous colors and design that they made up. You can just imagine this under the marketing slogan of the flame car.
A beautiful combination. This car was one of a kind, customized, designed by Bob Cotto at LeBaron, and it was built for James Knox, who was a wealthy Lincoln dealer on the East Coast, and he was also FDR's Secretary of the Navy. and he had a special car built. You should see the cabinetry in the back seat of this car. There's even a small refrigerator and a writing table and some of the most beautiful woodwork you've ever seen, and that special grill that preceded the LaSalle.
Well, what's interesting that what you say is these cars really have a lot of American history. Kelly, thank you very much. So Kelly's going to join us on stage, but all of these cars have great histories.
And that is our main poster car. Ralph Morano owns it, restored it, and I first saw that car in a garage in Dayton, Ohio when I was 21 years old, and it never moved until 4 years ago.
Last year, right.
Thank you very much, Ralph.
A magnificent car. Here comes one of my favorite cars.
How many folks saw the movie Tucker? Remember the movie Tucker?
That's a great
lot of us saw Tucker. Built by Preston Tucker from Ypsilanti, Michigan. There were 51 made, 48. Here's a Tucker 6. And when was this outfit?
This is the beginning of the 1980s. So we're going back a couple decades here.
Well, there was a chief engineer and a general manager at Pontiac back in the 60s and the 70s that always stepped outside of the box.
Yes.
And that was John Z. DeLorean. And he did
famous name.
Yes, very famous name. And he took Pontiac to new heights in more ways than one.
Not only in automotive design, but also in marketing design, too. Thank you, Susan.
Our Tucker again from Atlanta, Georgia. Only 51 made, one prototype, and 50 cars that were built in Chicago, and they were the subject of the movie Tucker. And this one's owned
That was a great
Atlanta.
movie.
It was a good movie. Father and son stars in the Tucker movie. Has a rear engine in the back, a flat six-cylinder Franklin engine that was originally designed for helicopter use.
Well,
and that's
Preston
what powered the Tucker.
He was a man beyond his times. He was really thinking outside the box, like John DeLorean.
This fabulous Beverly Duesenberg sedan, and that is a Gordon Bierig design, custom built by Murphy Body Company in Pasadena, California, designed by Gordon Bierig and owned by Joe and Margie Cassini from New Jersey. A Duesenberg Model SJ with the supercharger.
And now we complete our collection so that you can see the entire thought process of the designer collection that Bob Mackey did and Pontiac Motors for the mid-1980s. Truly the classic and gorgeous evening dress, and I always call it the flame dress because it is so reminiscent of the brand identity of Pontiac.
Marjorie, Bob Mackey had a good thing going with Pontiac.
Well, not only there, but you know, he was the dress designer for Cher. When she was in her heyday, he did all of her costumes.
Well,
so you can kind of see that glamour repeated here. Thank you, Jordan.
Is he still with us today?
Yes, he is. Yes,
Good.
indeed.
Doing wonderful
And so here we
designs.
are, our complete collection. And I think it's good to see
Courtesy of Marjorie Krevsky. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to have you here with these incredible fashions from
Classic Car Designers was with us for several years.
Congratulations, Mark. Good to see you again with one of your outstanding cars. And this sure is a rare one, a white steamer. Not many of these around. Takes a while to get going, I understand.
This has been a real challenge for us. I'm kind of new to steam cars, and I brought Mike Ersland with me, who's the white steam car expert from Oklahoma. So we've been tinkering and playing with it. We did drive it the tour the other day, had a great time. And we thought we were ready to go about a half hour ago, and then we had a little glitch. We kind of ran out of steam. But we're here.
Imagine going out in the garage when it's about 10 below zero back in 1904 and getting your steamer charged up and ready to go. That must have been a project. This car, when you started on it, how in the world did you do it?
Well, I think that a lot of people have studied or read about the restoration, which took 22 years. And it came out of it's a real Detroit story, you know. It came out of the Detroit, out of Warhoop's salvage yard. And Harry Warhoop, against the wishes of GM, decided to save the pieces and not crush them. And that was 1958. And now it's all done, but in 1988 we got the car, and the chassis wasn't there, and we had to make the chassis, and the roof and the doors were all cut off. There was no interior. So it was quite a job, and I am very proud of this car, and I think it is one of the great pieces of Motorama history. So I hope everybody else enjoys it too.
First time out, ladies and gentlemen, in one piece since 1955. Chuck Jordan was telling me earlier they just found the original title to this car, Joe. Do you have clear title to this automobile? That looks like a Corvair rear end. There are a lot of signature design elements here that wound up in production cars.
Absolutely. The back end you can see is a lot of Corvair. Hubcaps are a lot of 57 Chevy. The inserts on the side reversed are 56 Corvette. The front fender tips are somewhat Riviera 63, 64. And of course the windshield was used quite a bit in all the GM 59 cars with the wrap into the roof. So yeah, it was a styling car that did have a lot of styling cues.
John Raconda from New York, 1964 Pontiac Tempest Le Mans, the world's fastest Tempest. And from the Detroit Metro Convention Bureau, Chris Baum presenting the trophy to John Raconda from New York. Stan Long Pontiac on Grand River.
The ground's beautiful, the cars are amazing.
Tell us about the engine in this Tempest.
Well, it's a Pontiac 421 Super Duty. Six of these cars were built specifically for racing.
What does the odometer show? How many miles?
About 2,300 miles.
Quarter mile at a time. This car's done a lot of racing.
It actually came from the factory at about 2,000 miles. They tried to sell them off as used cars back in the day. It's kind of crazy thing. So really not a lot of miles on it.
How many horsepower?
Oh, about 550.
And the quarter mile top speed?
Oh, he's got on his quarter 124 miles an hour. He did, yeah. So pretty good for back in '63.
Not bad in a Tempest. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. Pontiac Tempest, the fastest Tempest in the world, ladies and gentlemen. John Raconda from New York. Space Age Sports Coupes, ladies and gentlemen, our next class. 10 cars in the class, eligible for trophies. 3 Lion Award winners, judged by Terry Boyce, Jeff Godshall, and Angelo Van Bogart. 57 Chrysler 300C two-door coupe, owned by Marvin Raguse. Oakland Township, Michigan. A 300C, one of the first of the letter cars that combine luxury and high performance and a lot of horse. The name of this color?
Gauguin Red.
Gauguin Red. What a great color. Well, we're thrilled to have you here. We rarely see a letter car, an early letter car with a Hemi and the dual quads. Push button automatic, and it'll go fast and you're very comfortable doing it.
Yes, it's an excellent riding car.
Thank you very much from Bloomfield Township. The next year, Chrysler had the 300D, and it kept going for several years. What a beautiful car. Space Age Sport Coupes, 57 Mercury Turnpike Cruiser is next.
And we were at the dealership, Bill Strauss came in and he said, hey, you guys want to go out to dinner? So
1957 Mercury Turnpike Cruiser, and that was a brand new body style in 1957, and it's got all the Space Age touches. This car is owned by Jim Schmidt, and the Turnpike Cruiser with the antennas and the air intakes at the top of the windshield. It's got a Continental kit, the big fender skirts, black and white and red interior is dramatic.
It's got an automatic grease system on it.
Automatic lubricator system, and if I've got it right, that rear window goes up and down.
Rear window goes down. It's got the Bill Strop NASCAR 368 2.4-barrel engine in it.
From the factory, dual quad carburetor, and this car has so many advanced features. It was quite a change from 1956.
Yeah, it looks like they threw everything against this car. It's even got two hood ornaments, one there and one behind the rear window.
Well, that's the right place to have them. Thank you, Jim. It's fabulous. We love seeing Turnpike Cruisers, and there sure aren't many around. Thanks very much. Equipped from the factory with a big engine and the dual quad carbureted air take, rear Continental kit, dual rear fender antennas, fender skirts, spotlights, a brand new body style in 1957, and as Jim said, the factory threw everything at it, and they have a lot of advanced features on the Turnpike Cruiser. 61 Pontiac Bonneville is next in our Space Age Sport Coupe class, owned by Jim Hartman. Jim Hartman owns this next car, a 57 Pontiac Bonneville.
I'll just stand by you.
Color interior, copper bronze. Jim, congratulations. Beautiful Pontiac. Unfortunately, we've just lost Pontiac. It's now an orphan car, but this is a magnificent automobile, the Bonneville. What is really special about it to you?
Well, I've always liked the general roof line, the design of the roof line. I like the emblems. I've always liked the kind of the gold lettering on the side, and of course the fact that it's a 389 tri-power doesn't hurt either.
Not at all. It'll get up and go. Pete Estes and John Z. DeLorean brought a lot of excitement to Pontiac when they were there.
Yes, they did, and it's really a shame to see Pontiac ride off into the history books. I'm going to keep this car as long as I can to keep the memory alive.
Well, that's great. That's what we need, and we appreciate seeing wonderful cars like this at MeadowBrook. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Jim Hartman, ladies and gentlemen, with his Pontiac Bonneville 389 Tri-Power. Beautiful interior, 8-lug wheels, just like new. The Bonneville, the top-of-the-line high-performance model from Pontiac. Best in class, ladies and gentlemen, Space Age Sport Coupes, 1963 Thunderbird. It's an M code, a high-performance M code. Jim Capuzzo from New Jersey. Best in class. And you like this car a lot.
Well, we like this car. We like this car because it's a beautifully restored car, and it really lets you appreciate the designer's intent. And that's a nice thing about MeadowBrook. You see the cars brought to the level that the designer probably imagined them to be, you know. And this car is all about form. It's not really all about form. It has a tri-power 390 under the hood. But it's a beautiful car just to study, and that's what we did, and here we are.
Thank you very much, Terry. James, the rare M code, not many of these made, and it'll really move, even though it was the top-of-the-line luxury car at Ford, the Thunderbird.
That's right. It's a high-performance Thunderbird with the standard 390 with the tri-power setup on it, and only 26 VIN numbers have been documented to exist out of over 42,000 hardtops built that year. And also the car also happens to be a factory-loaded car with all the toys too.
One of only 26 known.
Correct. The Landau model is actually the rarest M code with the the vinyl top and the Landau bars.
But this is more sporty.
This is more sporty, but next year I'll bring you to Landau and you can see that one.
Got one of each. How appropriate. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it very much. An M code, ladies and gentlemen, one of only 26 known. 390 tri-power from the factory in the luxurious top-of-the-line sport model, the Thunderbird. Peter Hayden here. Peter Hayden, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our next class. Here's one of our special features this year at MeadowBrook, the Town & Country, the Chrysler Town & Country class with these exotic, wonderful, very desirable and rare wooden-bodied cars. 10 cars in the class, judged by Buck Moak, Richard Scott, and Lee Dorrington. We have 2 Lion Award winners, a 1941 Chrysler Town & Country 9-passenger sedan. This is a 42, the 42 model Town & Country, the barrel back, so-called the barrel back, with French doors in the back. It's owned by Alan Shelton from Michigan. And here is our chairman of the MeadowBrook Concours d'Elegance of America Board of Directors, Dr. Peter Hayden, who knows a whole lot about these wooden body town and countries. Peter, what a class.
Yes, it's a marvelous class, and we're delighted to be able to talk about these cars this year. In 2009, the Classic Car Club of America finally recognized the Town and Country mark between 41 and 48 as true classics. And so as a result of that, the Board of Directors decided they would honor this mark by having a special class of Town and Country cars. We attracted, through the influence of the group called the Town and Country Owners Registry, of whom the president was Bob Porter, who wrote the article which you can all read about in your program. Bob Porter solicited these cars, I solicited these cars, and we were lucky enough to get 11 cars in this class. And this car is a 42 model. They made station wagons before the war, 41 and 42. And then following the war, they made no more station wagons, but coupes and convertibles and four-door sedans, all of which I think you'll see over in the class. Thank you, Alan.
1942, ladies and gentlemen, Chrysler Town and Country. Town and Country four-door with the French doors in the back. It's got the top rack, dual spotlights, sunshade, and fluid drive, a fluid drive transmission. Those doors in the back open sideways, one to each direction. And here's our other Lion Award winner from our Town and Country class of 41, and this is Peter Hayden's car. Peter, come on up and get the trophy.
This car was owned by Warner Brothers Studio. It was delivered to Alhambra, California in 1941. It was used in a number of our gang comedy movies, and was also driven by Number 2 Son, which some of the audience will still remember. He was part of the Charlie Chan mystery movies that we all saw in the theaters on Saturday mornings when we were growing up. This car was a complete joy to restore. It took me 6 years to restore it. A large part of the honor goes to my friend Frank Mallow, who's driving the car from West Palm Beach, Florida, who's my pal, who replaced a coil this morning, and so we now hear it ticking away. It was not ticking away when we arrived in the parking lot this morning, so thank you, Frankie. I'll give you this to...
He can have custody of it for a few minutes. Peter, congratulations, 41, Town and Country. Barrel back, as they called them, with the French doors. Great story. Previously a Warner Brothers movie car. Best in class, ladies and gentlemen, in our Town and Country weight class.
1948 Town and Country convertible owned by Stephen Martis.
48 Town and Country, and they were convertibles. This is a convertible, and this is the Paul Singer Memorial Award. Trophy to be presented by Edith Singer, the Memorial Award to Stephen Martis in a 48 Chrysler Town and Country.
I would like to thank the board for honoring my husband like this and congratulate the winner.
It's a thrill to have you here. Thank you very much. And Peter, thank you for your effort. Congratulations, Stephen. A convertible, a top of the line, expensive when new, sporty, wooden body convertible. And Chrysler was building them, 46, 7, and 8, and by 1950 they were gone.
Yes, they were, and I'm overwhelmed with this whole weekend, and I'm so delighted, and it's my first show.
We're thrilled to have you here, and without wonderful cars like this, we wouldn't have a show.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed the day immensely.
Marvelous car. The judges loved it, and it's best in class. Thank you. From Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, 48 Chrysler Town and Country convertible, Stephen Martis. And that is the Paul Singer Award. And we're going on next to sports cars to 1955. And what a class this was. 9 cars eligible, 2 Lion Awards plus best in class. And here is a 1950 Aston Martin DB2 Cabriolet owned by Frank Rubino from Florida. Frank, you have a lot of exotic English cars, and here's another award winner from your collection.
Well, we're be here. This is our 8th year coming to Meadowbrook, and we wouldn't miss it. As long as they'll have us, we'll be happy to come bring a different car every year.
Now, you favor heavily the cars from the UK, but you just stepped out of the box recently and bought a French car. What a great move that was.
We got a Chenard Walker, which is a very, very unique 1931 French car. It's a tank car which raced at Le Mans in 1931. So we're going to hopefully have that ready in 2 years to show.
Well, we'll see that car in a couple of years. Next year, come back with another British car. And this is a beautiful, pardon me?
We have an Allard M1 in the process for next year.
Sounds great. Right-hand drive Aston Martin DB2, one of the very early ones. Thank you, Frank. Frank Rubino, all the way from Florida. And next in our class of sports cars in 1955, 1952 Allard J2 Roadster. And this is a car that means business. Cycle fenders built by Sidney Allard in England with generally American high horsepower motors, and it's owned by Jim and Stacy Weedle from Missouri. An Allard, a J2 with cycle fenders, British racing green right-hand drive, and under the hood is?
Ford Flathead.
Well, that's the way the early ones were. Later they went to Oldsmobiles and Cadillacs and Chrysler, but Sidney Allard did a wonderful body design, and he loved American horsepower motors.
Yeah, he sure did. Delivered an awful lot of the post-World War II J2s to the U.S. This was a British delivered car and then imported to the U.S. in the 60s.
How many of these would have been brought into the U.S.?
There were about 90 of them made after World War II. Probably 2/3 of those came to the U.S.
And the early ones had the flathead V8, and it's speed equipped, I think you would say.
It'll go as fast as your nerve will let you drive it.
A great restoration in the right color. Did you restore the car?
I had it restored by Custom Classic Cars up in Chicago a couple years ago.
They did a great job, and the judges loved it, and we're thrilled to have you here. I see your wife is letting you drive today.
She always lets me drive this one.
I don't drive a stick shift.
Okay, well, I'm sure Jim will show you how. Right-hand drive stick shift Allard, that's a J2, ladies and gentlemen. It's all business. Hood straps, hood louvers, cycle fenders, and a high performance flathead V8 loaded with speed equipment. You should see the engine in that car. Best in class for sports cars to 1955. And Mr. Frank Campanelli presenting the trophy, Best in Class, a 1935 MG MB Roadster owned by Lynn Starr from Ohio.
We had the opportunity to judge this wonderful example of a pre-war MG, and those of you that know a little bit about sports car racing in the early 50s, there was an awful lot of MGs that all the races at Watkins Glen and Sebring and MacDill Air Force Base. But a lot of people didn't really recognize what the British were doing in sports car racing prior to World War II. And this is just a superb example of a very fast pre-war sports car, and just beautifully restored. So thank you very much for bringing the car.
Thank you, Frank. Very low production of a big sports car like this. It's bigger than the TC and the other models. How many of these were made?
98.
98 made. I don't think I've seen another one like it. There can only be a handful in the U.S., if that.
I think there are probably only about 20 left that have been restored.
And it would have cost new, how much?
Golly, 300 pounds.
300 pounds back then. Sounds like a pretty low figure. 4-cylinder motor with multiple carburation?
Six-cylinder. In fact, this is the last of the six-cylinder engines. SU carburetor, Marshall blower, Marshall supercharged.
Car's supercharged.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Very high performance for an MG. We're thrilled to have it here. Ultra rare model MG. You've got the windshield folded down and your Brooklyn's racing windows in place. Cut down doors, two-tone, right-hand drive, and knockoff wire wheels. Thank you very much. Best in class, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful, rare, supercharged, six-cylinder MG. Sports cars from 1956 is next. 9 eligible cars in the class, judged by Dr. Paul Sable, William Jeans, and Tom Shaughnessy. And our first Lion Award winner, Paul Devers, 1957 Mercedes 300 SL. Great to see you. With Bob Anzalone along for the ride. Congratulations, Toledo, Ohio, home to this car.
It's great to be here. Hey, beautiful cars. We're thrilled to get this award.
I think this is the first time I've seen you in anything but a Chrysler product.
That's correct. I love those Hemis, but this is kind of like a Hemi. You know.
Well, it's the 300 SL is one of the most exotic race cars, sports cars ever made. They were patterned after the 300 SLR race car, and fuel-injected six-cylinder motor over on its side, and it would go like mad.
That's correct. Dry sump oil system, tube chassis frame, built like an aircraft.
Well, it's beautifully done in the right color, German silver, and we're thrilled to have you back at MeadowBrook, regardless if it's not a Chrysler.
Thanks, Ed. Everybody enjoy the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Paul Devers, ladies and gentlemen, from Toledo, Ohio, with Bob Anzalone, the restorer for the ride. A 300 SL Roadster, one of the greatest sports car designs of all time. Second Lion Award winner in this class, 62 Jaguar Mark II Saloon, Raymond Renshaw from Ontario. A luxurious Jaguar with sports car handling and characteristic. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
We're thrilled to have you here. We get wonderful cars from Canada every year, and this year is no exception. They just keep right on coming.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate being here.
Thank you very much. Robert Renshaw, Raymond Renshaw from Ontario, Canada. Jaguar, ladies and gentlemen, the luxurious sports sedan. Lion Award winner in sports car from 1956. It's an Austin Healey 3000 Mark III Roadster 1967. Brian Johnson from Minnesota. Brian in Healey blue with white coves. And that's the way most of them were made. They're a wonderful, high quality, and very fast British sports car.
It had to be Healey blue over Old English white because of my daughter and my wife. It came from the factory Old English blue.
Well, that's the right color combination, and back to factory correct. Donald Healey had wonderful influence on the Austin Healey. He built a wide variety of sports cars, but this has to be the best one of all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, and we appreciate your being here all the way from
Minnesota, man.
Mankato, Minnesota. Austin Healey, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 3000 Healey blue and Old English white with chrome wire wheels. Brian Johnson and family. Speaking of Jaguars, it's an XK150S. 150S Cabriolet. John Spillman from Pennsylvania, 1960, best in class. William Jeans presenting the trophy.
John, congratulations. I don't know that there's a more elegant car on the field today, and I would urge everybody to go down and take a close look at this if they haven't already. It's just a lovely car.
Thank you, William. Congratulations, John. We don't see many of these in the cabriolet version with the roll-up windows, and it's certainly the right color, British Racing Green with your biscuit leather interior. That Jaguar like to call their leather. It's beautifully done and high performance, truly a world-class sports car design.
Jaguar of the 50s.
Fastest Jaguar in the 50s, high performance, and you could do it in style and comfort.
When I purchased the car, it was in parts. I had the fella put the title in my wife's name. I figured when I get home, I have to tell her that we're going to spend money on her car.
And that was the only way it would work. You might not be the only one that's done that.
I know.
Thank you, John. Best in class, ladies and gentlemen, a 150S. It's got the S at the top of the front of the doors, and that means the high performance version. Jaguar Cabriolet. Sports cars from 1956. Class N2.
They made a hard top.
9 cars eligible, 2 winners. Here's our award winner, 1958 Porsche Speedster, Rick Riley. Rick Riley, a Michigan favorite with this 356 Porsche Speedster from 1958. What a great name in sports cars. Porsche, there's nothing like it. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. This is a Detroit car. It's been a Detroit car all its life. Sold originally in Detroit, and the only owners have been from Michigan, and I'm the third Michigan owner.
So you know the whole history of the car?
Yes, sir. And we've got 38,000 total miles so far.
Hardly broken in.
It is. And now that it's done so well here today, now I get to drive it.
Well, that must be a special thrill because there's nothing like a Porsche.
Yes, sir, especially with the top down.
Congratulations. A Michigan Porsche all its life, a Speedster, 1958, Rick Riley, ladies and gentlemen. What a special design.
One with almost anyone about torque, power, horsepower, etc.
This outfit was used in an auto show, Marjorie.
This outfit has been used in auto shows, but also all kinds of marketing events. Is one of the symbols here of the Concours d'Elegance because chrome, as you can see from the fabulous chrome fenders on this car and bumper.
Design elements.
Thank you, Kelly. And so what we've done is we put all these ladies together to show you different eras of fashion. You've seen the design studios we're doing for automobiles.
Done a wonderful job, Marjorie.
Oh, it's
wonderful
always a pleasure.
with all these fashion. I want to thank Jack Rich from Pennsylvania with that exotic back, obviously.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of history, is it not?
It is indeed, to go along with our fashion car. High fashions and wonderful coach-built automobiles. That's and the documentary's on the way. Thank you, Marjorie. Thanks very much. Thank you to our models for the wonderful fashion. Thank you. This is this is the Roger Penske AMX. And behind the wheel, Drew Alcazar, ladies and gentlemen, from Phoenix, Arizona, the Penske 1971 AMX from AMC with the dual quad 390 high performance motor. This car won the... This car was built by Andy Didia. It's called the Didia. Space age design from the 1960s. It was built in transportation in St. Louis, Missouri, and the man that built it, 94-year-old Andy Didia, is right. What a special feature this is. Both of us, 56. It took 3 years to build it. Andy, what was behind this incredible car? What was the idea of the project?
Cars. From when I was young, you know, drive my dad's car and all that. So I figured, you know, I'll design something. Oh, yeah, it's just going to burn.
You designed something, all right. Thank you. Congratulations. We're thrilled to have you here. You've been making wonderful projects all your life.
No, I only built the one.
One car, but you do other little projects, and you're very accomplished.
Too much to build cars. State takes money, everybody takes money. I mean, you know, it's unbelievable. So you build a car, you guys know, not long ago they say I had to pay them $80,000. 800, I'm sorry. Imagine that, you got to donate something that you paid.
Andy, what did you start with when you started to build this car? What chassis, what engine?
No, everything, the chassis, everything's built. The engine was a Ford.
A Ford engine. You built the chassis to go around it and the body.
Yeah, it took 7 years.
It's an aluminum body car with a tubular frame. You know, Andy's creation with the modernized glass back in 1953 when I first drew this. This thing way out of the box.
And the first time you showed it back then was where?
Showed it, I don't remember. It was 56. I started. It took me 7 years. I'm going to be honest with you, I can't remember. I'm getting old. I'm 93, almost 93.
Yeah, well, you're not there yet.
I am 93.
Bobby Darin drove this to the Academy Awards in 1960 with Sandra Dee, so this had a special moment there. And it's been called the Dia 150 and the Bobby Darin Dream Car because they were friends, and that's how Bobby built his car.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here, Andy. You're an absolute legend in the Detroit area, and we're just thrilled. And ladies and gentlemen, what a special effort. You've been making wonderful projects all your life.
No, I only built the one.
One car, but you do other little projects, and you're very accomplished.
Too much to build cars. State takes money, everybody takes money. I mean, you know, it's unbelievable. So you build a car, you guys know, not long ago they say I had to pay them $80,000. 800, I'm sorry. Imagine that, you got to donate something that you paid.
Andy, what did you start with when you started to build this car? What chassis, what engine?
No, everything, the chassis, the engine was a Ford.
Ford engine. You built the chassis to go around it and the body.
7 years.
It's an aluminum body car with a tubular frame. So Andy's creation with the modernized glass back in 1953.
And the first time you showed it back then was where?
I don't remember. It was 56. I started 57 years. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm getting old. I'm 93, almost 90.
Well, you're not there yet.